First of all, Richard, let's clear up your heritage, because your mother and father are both Scottish, but you were raised in Milan. So how does that work?
That's right, yeah. By blood and birth, I'm Glaswegian. But my parents and my older brother Patrick were living in Milan when my mum was expecting me. And because she didn't know the language, didn't know Italian at the time, and wasn't too comfortable going through labour in a foreign country, went back to Glasgow, had me, and as soon as we were fit enough to fly back to join my dad and my brother, went back to Milan, and that's where I grew up and lived the first 18 years of my life.
So obviously you started playing football in Milan, the Italian way, and you started your career at Atlanta, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. I played for my dad ran the local team. He was manager of the local team, so didn't find it too hard to get a game when I was growing up, 8-year-old. Joined Atalanta at the age of 11, and stayed in the youth setup till I was 18, till I came back, and it was great experience, great learning at a quality setup like Atalanta, renowned in Italy for being one of the better youth teams around, and it was perfect schooling, really.
And obviously you grew up playing for Atlanta, but you also supported AC Milan as a boy, didn't you?
Yeah, as a kid growing up, you tend to support the team that's doing well and winning, especially when you don't have any allegiances to any of the local teams, like we didn't. Scottish family growing up and living in Milan, and no reason to support anyone but the team that was winning, and that was Milan at the time, with a fantastic team. We've always had fantastic teams, but they had then in particular the three Dutchmen, when they had the three foreign row, and Hullet and Van Basten and Rijkaard were their stars, and it was a treat really to have them playing on a doorstep and get to see them every couple of weeks. So it didn't take much persuading to support Milan as opposed to Inter.
And then obviously you came back to the UK with Arsenal and you spent a year there. What was it like?
Yeah, absolutely, but a perfect transition, because Arsene Wenger had I think it was his second full season in charge, so he was starting to do things his way, and you could see the club was heading in the right direction. And the coaches we had there, Liam Brady was head of the youth development, so he had obviously had Italian background in his playing days as well, so it was easy to settle in. Lots of foreign players there, and it was a step up definitely from the youth team football I was getting in Italy to playing reserve team football for a whole season, mixing with some unbelievable players. Playing regularly in the reserves was a fantastic experience, even at that early age, at 18, playing a whole season for Arsenal at Highbury. Fantastic experience.
And ironically enough, whilst you were at Arsenal, you were playing alongside Tony Adams in the reserves, who's obviously now your manager.
Yeah, I played with the boss. I think it was one reserve game at Enfield. I've had to remind Tony of this since he's been at the football club, because he's played in more important games than that reserve game against Chelsea at Enfield. And he was playing centre half, and I was playing left back that day. And I remember his words of advice before the game was, "Don't be last man." And I knew Tony was he's famous for playing the offside and sticking his hand up and make sure he caught the strikers offside. And that was my only worry that game. Don't be the last man. Don't make sure that you don't incur the wrath of Tony, the skipper at the time, and the boss now. So it's got 10 years ago, I think, since that day. But once again, Tony was part of incredible playing squad that Arsenal had, and the players that had the opportunity to train alongside and play with in reserve games on the odd occasion was just a fantastic learning curve. And
then in the summer of 1998, you moved to Bournemouth, and that really was the foundation for your career as a footballer.
Once again, I thought that I looked at that as a step up from playing youth team football in Italy, moving to Arsenal, playing reserve team football, and then to do it for real, to play in front of proper crowds, and to play in front for 3 points at the end of the day, which is all important. Once again, was a step up.
And of course, from Bournemouth, Harry took you to Portsmouth. The whole of your time at Portsmouth has been a real roller coaster, hasn't it?
It's yeah, but I think I look at it on an upward spiral the whole time. I joined when we were in the Championship, and yes, in the 6 or 7 years, 6 years I think we've been in the Premiership. Naturally, there have been times we've come closer to relegation than others, but it's been a constant. The club's progressed so much in those 6 or 7 years on the playing side of things. Fan wise, you could tell right from the first day I walked in there, the champion, even though we're in the championship, sellouts every game, and the fans were fantastic, and all we needed was to perform on the pitch. We had it's a big club, massive support, and slowly but surely the squad's developed into being definitely one of the top 10 in the country.
You've been there for sort of 6, 7 years now, and you're one of the longest serving players.
Yeah, that's right. I think Limvoy's the longest serving player at the minute. I'm second behind him, and Jamie Ashdown's behind that. It was quite bizarre, really, because I never thought when I joined in the championship 7 years ago that I would be even up there with the longest serving players. Joined at the time when Matty Taylor and Gary O'Neill were there, and then there have been changes, transitions throughout the course of the way. But it's nice. It's nice being settled in a place and feeling comfortable and with your surroundings, with who you're working with and who you're playing for, and to build a rapport with the fans, who, as I said, the best fans, as far as I'm concerned, in the country to play in front of week in, week out.
They're fanatic, aren't they? You don't find any fans
absolutely.
like Pompey fans.
Oh, nowhere. I'm a Celtic fan. I grew up a Celtic fan, and one of my first games, if not the first game for Portsmouth, the pre-season friendly against Celtic, and they packed the away end, and as Celtic do, brought their thousands, wherever they go, whatever the occasion. And I just remember that day, the Portsmouth fans out singing the Celtic fans, and I'd never seen that every Celtic game I'd gone. It was never the case, be it home or away. And from that day, we had a good team, and we had a good start to the season, and that got the whole club buoyant, and the fans really, they surprised me from that day. But then since then they've been with us, as you talk about it, the roller coaster, the ups and downs, if you like, of narrowly escaping relegation, but they've been the one constant.
So you're a Celtic supporter and an AC Milan supporter, and you support Barcelona as well. So there's a few teams you look out for.
The best teams, yeah. I don't like supporting teams that lose. The best team in Scotland, best team in Italy, but it's Barcelona purely because of the football they play. I think if you watch Spanish football, and I'm a big fan of European football in general, Italian and Spanish particularly. I think if you like good football, you can't help but support Barcelona. And they've got some of the best players in the world, Xavi, Iniesta, Messi. I paid to watch them, but yeah, the Celtic ones by blood birth tradition. We're a Celtic supporting family, and the Milan one was convenient. You had to support a team when you were out there, so that's why I've got so many teams that I like to support. But Barcelona has just purely become as a lover of good football.